All right, we are about to have this wonderful conversation about Naivas turning 35 years. It's a long time. You know, 35 is the official time where somebody, if you're 35 and below, you're considered a youth from around 19 to 35. So Naivas has gone through its youthful stages, and now there is the next 35. What does that hold? What is the potential? What is the dynamic? We have the Naivas team here. Gentlemen looking very nice. They said we are not doing ties today. But even before we come to that, it's about partnership. First of all, a business does not operate in isolation, all right? The things that you buy, they're coming from somewhere. Look at that, 4,500 supplier partners with over 100,000. These are stores, yeah, on our shelves. Essentially, when you look at this 4,500 number, these are businesses that are owned by your neighbor, by your friend, by you yourself. So you are benefiting from this particular ecosystem. And this is very critical when it comes to our economy, because we're talking about an economy that needs that level of engagement. There are people at the production level, there are people in the intermediate level, people doing transportation, people doing final delivery. All this partnering with all these suppliers, critical. Naivas is powering businesses. Let's move to the next, data that we have. Of course, we've spoken about 110 stores across the country. These are 38 counties, and we have 47 counties, so they'll tell us how they're going to reach out to the 9 others and what that means for us. Apart from that, we also have 7,000, actually, you control 53% of the market share. That is more than half. Quite interesting. And how you guys have managed to avoid monopolistic tendencies to be able to do business that is valuable to the customer, you'll help us understand that. Other than that, we have quite a number of branches. I've spoken about 100 plus, 110 to be specific. Counties 38, 12,000, of course, employees. These are your neighbors. These are some of my friends. I've made friends in Naivas branches, 12,000 of them making a living out of it. Because bold people decided that we're gonna start a business and we'll make sure that it grows, all right? When you talk about daily customers, 285,000 daily customers. That is quite massive, and it has an impact to the economy. Supplier 7,600 and controlling 53% of the market share. And this is the foundation of where we are going, speaking about the 12,000 employees, and 3 million customers are served every month. Okay, remember, 3 million customers. Kenya, we are just above 50 million as a total population. So serving 3 million in every month, that is a huge number. How are you able to attract this number? Well, they'll be sharing some of the details in that regard without spilling much. And of course, just to remind you who we have on the panel this evening. We have Mr. Peter Mukuha, Chief of Operations. Thank you very much. Andreas von Pulaske, Chief of Strategy, and Tim Kajume, Chief Human Resources Officer. Gentlemen, once again, I appreciate you guys making time.
Thank you.
It's late, yeah, but you guys talk about having 24-hour operations. So we are still in business even while you're still here. But to start with you, Peter, I mean, when you talk about Naivas and its foundations, it's one of the well-known family businesses in this country for the longest time. And it took 2 or 3 bold people to say that we're going to start something and build it. Bring us in, just to understand the foundations of Naivas. How did Naivas come about?
Well, 35 years is a long time. And actually, some of the people I've been interacting with, they're actually surprised that we've been there for 35 years. Some people think that, we we came, we started this business, in the early 2010s and so forth. But if you look at the contrast between the village store and the successful business we're talking today about, is quite big. And it has not come easy. I think we've had our share of challenges, our share of opportunities, but we are glad today that you're talking about a very successful company, like you mentioned, with over 110 branches, over 12,000 employees. Some of the major attributes I would attach to this success. One, I would say, is the founders' mentality that we have, and the foundation, the great foundation that our founders set for us. Most Kenyans will not realize that even the founders of this company, like you say, there are few siblings that came together, were actually employees of a different retail. They were actually line attendants in a different retail. And they saw it good to start a small business back in 1990 in a small town called Rongai in Nakuru. It was just a small village store, nothing big. I think going back to the attributes, I think they set in sound core values that have been the building block of this business. And I think without them setting that, I don't think we'd be where we are today. I think the second attribute is the commercial support that we've had from our partners, from our suppliers and the like. And again, it comes from the core values. I think starting a business then was quite hard. And one of the core value that holds our business is trust. And you can imagine that people without money, people without any other source of income, but your suppliers are giving you a sense of trust, and they're able to lend you goods that you're able to sell and pay them after a few days. So that's how it all started. It's the core values that were set. Going to the next thing, I think it's the loyalty that we have with our customers, the trust and confidence. I think today we will not be here where we are were it not for our customers and the loyalty that they give us. And I would say the other thing is, of course, our employees, whom we are very proud of. Today, Naivas will not be here where it is, were it not for our hardworking employees who rise up every morning to make sure that they serve our customers diligently.
Ah, that's quite rich core values. Essentially, you're saying money should not be the first thing that you guys are thinking about. You're thinking about, as much as there is the commercial element, think about values. That is the foundation on which a business and such a brand is built over a period of time. That's
precisely. I think our foundation, the core values that we have made us who we are today. Yeah. We have values such as respect. And I'll tell you, if we never respected one another, there'll be fights all over. People will not be working in harmony in our stores. So our core values are our pillars and our foundation that have brought us to where we are today.
Definitely. And there's, I mean, you're a head of strategy, and in your other life, yeah, when people start talking about other life, they become a little bit, hey, what is happening? Yeah. But you've always been, you've worked in private equity, and you've invested, you've seen money being pumped into many sectors, including retail. I mean, looking at this business, the foundations that Peter is talking about, is that a critical consideration when we're talking about investment and somebody trusting you with their money to inject into your business?
Absolutely. It's what attracted me to the business when I first came across it 9 years ago. So I've been in and around Naivas for some time. And I think it's the very values that Peter spoke about that first appealed to me. Apart from the fact that I thought it was a great retail business, even then offered great value to customers, had great customer service. But what the family had developed even at that point in time really appealed to me. Of course, as you know, we subsequently brought private equity into the business, and I think it's again very similar aspects that we've talked about that brought outside investors into family businesses, which is typically not very easy and often takes quite a long time.
Definitely. Tim, you know, you are the people person at Naivas, and is mentioned, I mean, respect, as basic a value as that, which again is not very common. You know, some of the critical values, they are not as common as they should be. And that boils down to people, because businesses are people.
Yes.
Naivas is people who work under Naivas.
Yes.
Talk to me about how these core values marry into the human resource element of Naivas.
Thanks, Noah. So, as Peter mentioned, when the values that were set, so we've had people who've grown with the business over time. One of the things that we do quite well at Naivas is how we induct our new employees. When people come on board, they have somebody who handholds them. And the people we pick to handhold them, who we call buddies, are people who embody those values that we value as a business, and therefore they are able to inculcate the same values into the people who are coming on board. Secondly is the way we operate on a daily basis. That whole element of respect. In fact, we don't just talk about it, we live it, all the way from the top leadership, all the way to the line attendants. And I can tell you, when you interact with some of, especially at the leadership level, a case in point is our managing director, who is one of the founders of Naivas. He is very, very passionate about our frontline staff. It is easier for him to fire somebody at a senior level than somebody at frontline because he knows, he's been there, he knows what it takes for our employees at the front line and what they have to go through. And therefore that kind of respect, when he goes to their stores, he goes and talks to them. He leaves that whole aspect of respect. It is no longer a boss-subordinate kind of relationship, but it is more of a colleague and teamwork kind of a relationship.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's quite incredible. Peter, you know, right now we talk about 110 stores and over 38 counties. This is massive. I mean, it's the highest number in the country. I was going through the initial phase of expansion of this business when it was moving and more people are coming and joining the business, the siblings, you know, as they join after 5 years, somebody joins. And it's quite interesting because there was an element of, it started outside Nairobi. Sometimes people look at the city and they're like, that is where I need to start my business. That's where we have the population. It started all the way in Rongai, then transitioning all the way to Naivasha, and now coming into the city. But also there was a certain element of folding up some of those initial stores. Help me understand, is it a model in retail when you're trying to expand and conquer new markets that you have to sort of make certain sacrifices or certain strategic decisions in order to advance the business?
No, as you have rightly mentioned, we started in Rongai and moved to Elbagon and later to Naivasha. I wouldn't say it's a model of running business. I think it's the challenges that we were going through by then, and we were trying to run the ropes of this business. We could not have afforded, to come to Nairobi straight. Because one of the things that, and especially when we came to Nairobi, and what we learned after we came to Nairobi is that it was very expensive. The rent that we were required to pay was quite high. There were other operators, very big operators by then in Nairobi, and I remember at some point in less than 6 months, we almost gave up and went back to Naivas. So it's just the growth path that we took. And again, we were very conservative. We were using our own resources to grow the business in terms of reinvesting whatever we got. I think the founders were quite conservative, not to over-leverage themselves, going to the banks and borrowing amounts of money. So I would say it was a way of transitioning from that village store to now the modern retail, which is quite a journey and a very challenging journey. I think one of the elements that we found out is that, again, there were very few suppliers by then. So, and the brand was not known. This was just, a supermarket that has come from a village, coming towards the urban centers. And it was quite difficult for us to get credit then, looking at the quantums and the amount of, volumes, stocks that we required to run a supermarket. Forget about the village store that we were operating. Of course, that required minimum quantities and all that. Now, running a proper supermarket requires a lot of heavy capital to run, and we found it quite difficult when we came first to Nairobi to get that credit from suppliers. We got a lot of competition from the big boys. Even getting a premise was quite hard because we were considered at that time, so they would give priority to the already existing retailers. So it was quite a journey and quite a difficult journey before we really established ourselves. Secondly, I think when we came to Nairobi after learning that it was quite difficult, we saw an opportunity in the neighboring counties, a town like Machakos. When we went there, we found that it's like people are being exploited. The amount of prices that we're paying for their goods and commodities were quite high. And remember, we had our mantra, Naivas saves you money. So we wanted to leave that, and that's why when we went to the towns outside Nairobi, that's why we were successful, because we were living our mantra. Giving value to customers, providing the range that they needed. And I think with that, we were able to build a force that now enabled us to come back to Nairobi.
I see that. Quite interesting you say that was not a strategy per se, but it was a strategy in of itself in many ways to overcome the challenges that you guys were facing. And I mean, Andreas, looking at that, even the initial challenges that Naivas and the business had, credit, and today in the Kenyan ecosystem, we still are talking about credit to the MSME sector, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, because that's where majority of our businesses start. And still our financial systems many are trying, but breaking that mold of funding these businesses, especially from where you sit from a strategy perspective. How has that shifted from these initial challenges? Are retailers these days having it a little bit easier?
Well, I think scale helps, when you're a bit bigger. But I think what's important for us is that we have a sustainable business. And to have a sustainable business, we need a sustainable supply base. We need to make sure that we have the right products on the shelf. And for that, we need to partner with suppliers, and we need to partner with suppliers in a proactive manner. And that doesn't just mean big suppliers. That also means many small suppliers. In fact, we are, as part of our values, which we'll talk about, but also in the context of how we think about the business, and probably due to the heritage of the business, very focused on working with small suppliers, small Kenyan suppliers, because we recognize the impact that we can have. We also recognize that many small suppliers can give us unique products that we may not be able to get elsewhere. But we are very vested ultimately in serving the customer, but in helping small businesses grow and partner with us. And once we partner with a supplier, that's intended to be a long-term relationship. It's not a here today, gone tomorrow relationship. We want that sustainability. We want the continuity of the products. We want to partner with suppliers to develop new products. Because remember, our customers, and Peter's alluded to it, are not just demanding, but their tastes and their preferences change. Very recently, we hosted a very successful event together with the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, specifically to work with small and medium-sized enterprises and to take them through what does it mean to partner with the retailer. Because to your point about does it get easier when it gets bigger, I'm not sure it gets easier. I think the problems are different. The problems that we face today versus the problems we maybe faced 20 or 30 years ago. But partnering with us is not always easy because we're a bigger business. And so we invest a lot of our personal time working with smaller businesses. And actually, as a result of that event, which is the first of its kind that we hosted, several small suppliers were ultimately added to our product catalog, which I think is a great outcome when you set this up, not just to educate small suppliers, but ultimately there's a real benefit for them.
Oh, partnering with suppliers, which is very, very critical. And I think, as you've said, the MSME sector, a lot of young people, very innovative, and they're wondering, where can I sell my product? I think we'll come to that later on and see how you've made this easy to be part of the system, at the same time maintaining the quality and the standards that the customer demands at the end of the day. Tim, as they partner with suppliers, are you guys also partnering with the human resource element, with the people that work for you? Because you've spoken about some people have been with the business for over 30 years, for over 20 years.
Yes.
And to be able to keep somebody for that long, there is an element of growth that you have to experience as you evolve in life. Maybe somebody came as they were single initially, now they have a +1, and now they have a child. Their life is evolving.
Yes.
There is that expectation that the business and where they're working also is evolving with them. Talk to us about how you're partnering with the people that are powering Naivas to make sure that you're growing with them.
First of all, at Naivas, we say we don't give jobs. We give opportunities, and we want to build careers. So when people join the business, it is up to you. We equip you, we give you the opportunities for growth. A lot of the people who join Naivas start at almost at entry level, especially within the frontline positions. And over 90% of the vacancies within Naivas are filled internally. We only go externally when we have exhausted any internal resources that are there. So basically what we do, we have a very robust kind of talent growth. For one, for every position one grows into, they have to undergo training so that we are able to equip you to do your job for the next level. And also, secondly, what we do is we build what are called talent pools. Now, for these talent pools is we identify talent within the business, we interview them, we do assessments as if they are actually applying for new jobs, and we shortlist them, but we put them in a talent pool. And then from there, we identify the best, and we train them. And we train them for the next role before they even get that role. And then we place them in a ready talent pool such that when opportunities arise, they're the first people who get deployed into those positions. So we are continually training and identifying the next lot. So it's part of our succession planning, so that we do not find ourselves in a situation where we have open positions. Now, in retail, if you have an open position, it has to be filled almost immediately because service is something that you can't have those kind of vacuums. So that's the reason why we are continuously developing talent and getting them ready. Now, the other things that we do is looking at our employee value proposition. What is it that we are partnering with our employees? So the same way we say we are offering world-class shopping experience, internally we say we are trying to provide world-class employee experience to our staff. And that comes from the kind of work environment that is there, which we talks to the values that we have, the kind of compensation packages that we offer our employees,
Okay.
the kind of benefits that we do offer our employees, which go over and above the usual monetary compensation packages. So, and employees are able to grow. And the beauty about it is that we already have examples of people who started as a line attendant, and they have grown to very senior positions within the business. Yeah.
Oh, that's very encouraging. Like you wouldn't stagnate. It's called plateauing. You entered at a particular position and you're left there. And that level of intentionality to be able to sharpen them, chisel them to be better within the organization, I think it's a really powerful thing. Peter, I mean, when you talk about, I asked you earlier on why you shop at where you shop, and you said one of the things is the ambience. And I'm looking at the current customer, because you run operations on the day-to-day. How is the customer evolving? How is the Kenyan customer evolving, and how is Naivas catering to them and meeting their need at their point of need, as people will say?
I think to begin with is that every customer is looking for value. And that's why everything that we are doing is creating that value. And value, be it in pricing, value, be it in the quality of service that we are offering, value, be it in the quality of products that we are offering. So in general, every customer is looking for value. And what we've done is partnering with our suppliers, working with our employees, coming together and making sure that we are delivering that value. Today's customer is very knowledgeable. He expects, or she expects, the customer today expects a lot from us. And I don't think we have an option. The competition is there, also building up. So we don't have an option other than delivering that value. When you look at the majority of the customer, it's the young customer that we are serving. And they are very experiential. They want something good. And that's why, as a company, we've gone up and beyond. If we walk into our stores later, we've done a lot of investments. In terms of the ambience, if you look at the lighting, they look at the look and feel, it's because we want to attract that customer. We also have been very deliberate on how we lay out our stores. If you walk into a store, the first thing you find is the fresh fruits and vegetables, the fresh bakery, the fresh meats. It has been very deliberate and intentional to lay out our stores like that, because these are the footfall drivers. And these are the things that will bring customers every day into the stores. So we also learning how the customer is behaving, and also modeling our stores to suit that expectation.
Oh, I see. I see a lot of fruits when I walk into Naivas. Very nice, sumptuous fruit. And because the world is becoming more conscious of their health, and that seems almost like inviting you into a healthy space. And think about that dragon fruit that you're passing by. Have you heard about its benefits? I mean, Andreas, strategic-wise, when you think about even what Peter is talking about, and being intentional to the level of how you lay out your stores, and the nature of the clientele that you're serving, the Kenyans that you're serving, this 285,000, the 3 million a month that you're catering to. When you look at that from a point of strategy, what do you make of it? Does it go back to that point of customer is king at the end of the day?
Well, it absolutely does. So from a values perspective at Naivas, customer comes first always. From a strategy perspective, it's exactly the same. We talk about Kenyan customers. I think even in Kenya, there are many nuances in terms of preferences, and so we spend a lot of time really understanding our customers. We do that through research. We have a big loyalty program, over 3.5 million members that regularly shop with us. So we have a wealth of data that we can use to evaluate and understand what customers' habits are by time of year, by geography, and how those change over time. And that is a very scientific approach to then saying, well, as a result of that, what products should we offer our customers? At what price points should we offer those products to our customers? And of course, that changes, and that changes frequently. But it certainly forms the foundation of our go-to-market strategy. Okay. Because the customer in this market has a lot of choice. So we've got to work, and it's a daily, we talk about it with the team, it's a daily sales battle. We've won today, but tomorrow is a new day, and we've got to keep converting those customers. And of course, we operate in an economy where cash is incredibly tight, where people have to really focus on where they spend their money to feed their families. And so we have to be very deliberate in understanding the customer, understanding them by the region they're in, or even parts of Nairobi, targeting the product assortment, and then making sure we can offer that at a price point that makes sense to the customer, but ensures we remain a sustainable business.
Wow. Sustainability, very, very important. These days, a friend of mine was chatting to me, and they're saying, if you need funding anywhere, just put there sustainability, and you'll get some of it. I don't know whether it's true, but we want to take a short break right now. When you come back, still there is a lot, because we talk about generations to come. The business is built to go beyond the current people that we are seeing here, like it's been exemplified for the 35 years. So we will touch a little bit on now moving forward. What Naivas is prophesying, if Naivas was a prophet. So gentlemen, we take a short break right now, right here on this special coverage on Naivas at 35. 35 is a long time, but still, if you're measuring it at a 100-year perspective, we haven't yet reached the middle. So there's still a lot to be done in an evolving global and local environment. We dissect that still further, but stay tuned on this conversation. Naivas at 35.